Elm Hall, the oldest dorm on campus. It stood tall and imposing, casting a long shadow over the neatly trimmed lawns. The ivy clinging to its brick walls seemed to whisper secrets in the wind, secrets of a dark past that haunted its halls. Students told stories, stories about cold spots, strange noises, and a feeling of being watched. But the stories were more than just stories, they were warnings. The air inside Elm Hall was always cold, a chill that seeped into your bones and sent shivers down your spine. The smell of dust and decay lingered in every corner. Footsteps echoed on the worn wooden floors, even when no one was around. The dorm was a place of whispers and shadows, a place where fear was always present. Jake was a freshman. He was excited to start college and experience life away from home. He had heard the rumors about Elm Hall, but he dismissed them as silly stories. He didn't believe in ghosts. He should have. Jake's room was on the 3rd floor, at the end of a long dark hallway. The door creaked open, as if it hadn't been used in years. The air inside was heavy and still. The only light came from a single flickering bulb. Jake unpacked his bags, trying to ignore the feeling of unease that was creeping over him. He told himself it was just the old building, but deep down, he knew it was something more. The first night in Elm Hall, Jake couldn't sleep. He kept hearing noises, whispers coming from the empty hallway, footsteps outside his door. The temperature in his room dropped. It felt like someone was breathing on his neck. The next morning, Jake told his roommate Ben about the noises. Ben just laughed. He said it was probably just the old pipes, but Jake knew it was more than that. He had felt a presence in the room, a cold, unseen presence. As the days passed, the strange occurrences continued. Things moved around in Jake's room, lights flickered. He felt a cold touch on his arm. He knew he wasn't alone. Section 4. The Diary of a Lost Soul. One day Jake was cleaning out his desk when he found a small, leather-bound diary. The pages were yellowed with age. The ink was faded. He opened it up and began to read. The diary belonged to a student who had lived in Elm Hall many years ago. Her name was Sarah. She had written about strange and terrifying experiences, the same experiences that Jake was having now. Sarah wrote about feeling watched, about hearing voices, about a cold presence that followed her everywhere. She believed that Elm Hall was haunted by a malevolent spirit. Jake closed the diary. His heart was pounding. He knew that Sarah's story was true. He was living it. He had to find out more about Sarah and the ghost of Elm Hall. Section 5. Face to Face with Fear. Jake started researching the history of Elm Hall. He found an old newspaper article about a student who had gone missing from the dorm many years ago. The student's name was Sarah. The article said that she had last been seen entering her room. She was never seen again. Jake knew he had to find out what happened to Sarah. He went back to his room and started searching for clues. That's when he saw her, a ghostly figure standing in the corner of his room. She was translucent. Her long black hair covered her face. She was wearing a white dress that was torn and stained. Jake froze. He couldn't breathe. The figure turned towards him. Her piercing blue eyes seemed to stare right through him. Section 6. Forever Haunted. Jake ran out of the room and into the hallway. He could hear the ghostly footsteps following him. He ran faster and faster, but the footsteps kept getting closer. He could feel the ghost's icy breath on his neck. He slammed into his dorm room door and fumbled with the keys. He could hear the ghost's chilling voice whispering his name. He finally got the door open and threw himself inside. He slammed the door shut and leaned against it, gasping for breath. He could still hear the ghost's voice on the other side of the door, whispering his name. Jake knew that he would never be safe, not as long as he stayed in Elm Hall. The ghost of Sarah was trapped there, and now Jake was trapped with her.